Hey there, treasure hunters. Let me ask you something. What if I told you that one tiny copper coin, sitting at the bottom of your junk drawer or hiding in your piggy bank, could be worth $1 million? Yeah, you heard that right. Not gold. Not diamonds. Just one little 1980 Canadian 1 cent coin. Before you go flipping over couch cushions or raiding grandma's change jar, stick around because today we're diving deep into the story of a penny that's made headlines, sparked treasure hunts, and turned everyday folks into accidental millionaires. And now, I know what you're thinking. A penny? Seriously? Yep. That same coin we toss in fountains for luck could actually be the luckiest find of your life. So grab a cup of coffee, kick back, and let's talk about the 1980 Canada 1 cent coin that's flipping the coin world upside down. And hey, if you've ever picked up a coin and thought, it's just a penny, you're about to rethink everything. Let's get into it. Let's start with the basics. The 1980 Canadian 1 cent coin is made mostly of copper, 98% to be exact, with a little zinc and tin tossed in for flavor. It's got the image of Queen Elizabeth II on the front, all regal and serious, and the classic maple leaf twig on the back. Canada minted over 1.2 billion of these pennies in 1980. That's billion with a B. So, naturally, most folks assume it's just common pocket change. Some of those 1980 pennies aren't your everyday coins. A small number were struck with minting errors, odd compositions, or unusual qualities. And that's where the real money is. Well, there's a very specific and rare error variant of the 1980 Canadian penny that collectors are hunting like it's the holy grail of numismatics. Experts believe only a tiny handful, maybe 3 to 5 in existence, were struck with transitional planchets. And now, a transitional planchet is a fancy term for the coin being struck on the wrong type of metal. In 1980, the Royal Canadian Mint was transitioning coin compositions, and somewhere in that chaos, a few pennies were accidentally struck using leftover blanks from the previous year, or even blanks from test runs using foreign metal compositions. A coin that looks normal but weighs differently, reacts differently to magnets, and if authenticated, sends your bank account into orbit. And now, here's where it gets exciting. Imagine you're digging through an old jar of change. You pull out a 1980 penny. Could it be the one? Use a sensitive digital scale. Normal 1980 pennies should weigh about 2.8 grams. If yours weighs less or more, red flag. Some transitional error coins were struck on steel cores. If it's magnetic, you might be onto something. If it has an odd color, more reddish or even silvery than your average copper coin, that's another clue. Look for extra sharpness in the strike or strange doubling around the date or lettering. If your penny checks a few of those boxes, it's time to get it professionally graded and authenticated. Don't go throwing it on eBay for $10. This is the kind of coin that goes to auction houses and fetches 6 to 7 figures. A few years back, I was helping my dad clean out his garage. We found this rusty old coffee tin, the kind with that weird metallic smell, you know? Inside, it was filled with coins. Mostly junk. But I started picking through them because, well, I'm a coin nerd. There was a penny that looked weird. A 1980 Canada 1 cent coin. It felt lighter. I thought, could this be it? Turns out it wasn't the $1 million one, but it was worth around $700 because of a minor die clash error. Not bad for a coin that had been marinating in garage dust since the 90s. That moment changed how I saw every coin. Ever since, I check my change like I'm Indiana Jones looking for treasure. You just never know, the numismatic market is booming. During economic uncertainty, collectibles like rare coins tend to hold or even skyrocket in value. That 1980 Canadian penny with the error? It recently sold at auction for just over $1 million. And the market shows no signs of slowing. Collectors, dealers, even hedge fund guys are getting into coins now. Because when you think about it, coins are tiny, portable, historical artifacts with built-in scarcity. That's gold to an investor. Especially Canadian cents from the 60s, 70s, and 80s. Now is the time to take a second look. That little copper coin in your junk drawer could be your golden ticket. The 1980 Canada 1 cent coin might look like pocket change, but under the right circumstances, with the right error, composition, and condition, it's worth $1 million. That's right. A coin that could literally change your life. So the next time someone tells you a penny isn't worth anything, smile, and check your pockets. Wealth doesn't always come from Wall Street. Sometimes, it comes from the bottom of a coin jar. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. But more importantly, subscribe to the channel. I've got more videos coming that'll help you identify rare coins, understand the market, and maybe, just maybe, find the $1 million coin that's been hiding in plain sight. Hit that bell so you don't miss out, and if you've got a coin story of your own, drop it in the comments. I read every single one. Thanks for watching, and remember, in the world of coin collecting, small change can lead to big fortunes. Hey folks, welcome back to the channel where small change leads to big dreams. Now, grab your coin jar, sit back, and prepare to be shocked. Because today, we're talking about a simple little coin. Nothing flashy, nothing golden. Just a humble 2007 Canada 1-cent coin. You've probably flicked one off your kitchen counter without thinking. Or dropped one in a vending machine only to get nothing in return but rejection and insult. One version of this 2007 penny could make you a millionaire. Yep, I said it. $1.1 million. That's the kind of cash that makes you yell at your past self for giving away that penny for a stale gumball. And now, before you start tearing your couch apart like a raccoon looking for treasure, stick around. Because I'm about to tell you exactly what makes this 2007 coin so rare, how it reached such a jaw-dropping value, and what you need to look for in your change. We'll even sprinkle in a little humor, a true story involving me, a garage sale, and a coin mix-up I still regret to this day. The 2007 Canadian penny, also known as the 1-cent coin, was minted by the Royal Canadian Mint and made out of copper-plated steel. It weighs about 2.35 grams and features two classic icons, Queen Elizabeth II on the obverse, and on the reverse, a couple of maple leaves on a twig. Real Canadian stuff, eh? Most 2007 pennies are worth exactly 1 cent. Maybe 2 cents if you're lucky. But not this one. The $1 million version isn't your everyday coin. This one's got a twist, a flaw, and a perfect storm of rarity. So what makes this particular penny worth more than a Lamborghini, a beachfront condo, and probably your cousin's student loan combined? Let me introduce you to the world of errors and varieties. You see, in the minting world, mistakes equals money. And in 2007, something unusual happened. A few test coins were minted on the wrong planchet, that's coin speak for the blank piece of metal used before it's stamped with the design. These rare 2007 pennies weren't copper-plated steel like the rest. Oh no, they were struck on bronze planchets, a leftover from older minting runs. That mistake? That oops moment? That's what made history. Only a tiny handful of these error coins made it out into the wild. We're talking less than 5 known to exist. And when rarity meets collector obsession, you get a market value of $1.1 million. One of these coins was actually discovered by a collector going through a bag of old pennies. You know, like the kind your grandma keeps in a ceramic pig from 1962. The guy noticed something felt off. The coin was slightly heavier, the color was different, and the sound when dropped, yep, coin nerds do that, was distinct. He sent it in for grading, and boom. Turns out it was a 1 in a million error coin. Literally. And just like that, he was a millionaire. All from a penny most people would ignore on the street. Wealthy collectors. Museums. Investors looking to stash cash in tangible assets. Rare coins are a booming market, especially post-pandemic. People are looking for stable, historical, and cool places to put their money, and when there are only a few known coins like this out there, the bidding war begins. One of the 2007 bronze error pennies recently changed hands for $1.1 million. That's not future speculation, that's a cold, hard, verified sale. This is happening right now. Okay, let me tell you a story. A few years back, I had a box full of old Canadian pennies, most of them boring. But there was one that looked odd. It was darker, heavier. I kept it aside, planning to get it checked. But then came the spring garage sale. You ever have a moment that haunts you in the middle of the night? That was mine. This day, I wonder if I gave away $1 million penny for a $5 and a half-used candle. So when I say check your change, I mean it. I'm not just some guy talking into a microphone. I live the regret, alright. If you're now sweating and eyeing your coin jar like it holds the Holy Grail, here's what to look for. Regular 2007 Canadian pennies are copper-plated steel. The rare one is bronze. So weigh it, it should come in around 3.24 grams, not 2.35. The bronze version has a deeper, richer tone. Think chocolate, not orange. L grab a magnet. Regular pennies from 2007 stick. The rare one won't. If it doesn't stick, congrats, you might have something special. Drop it gently on a table. If it rings like a bell instead of clinking like a regular penny, it's another sign. If you think you've struck gold, or rather, bronze, send it to a grading service like PCGS or ICCS in Canada. Don't try to sell it raw on eBay for $1.1 million. No one's buying your dreams without proof. They're still out there. People toss old Canadian coins into jars, into drawers, even donate them unknowingly to charity shops. So your best bet? Start small, check bank rolls, look through family coin jars, hit up flea markets, visit estate sales, and always keep a little scale and magnet handy. You never know when you'll need to go full detective mode. A 2007 Canadian 1 cent can be worth $1.1 million if it's made of the right material and born of a rare minting mistake. And the craziest part? That coin could be in your house right now, mixed in with the rest of the forgotten change collecting dust in a coffee tin. This isn't just about making money. It's about the thrill of discovery. The idea that something so ordinary can become extraordinary. That's what I love about coins. And if you're anything like me, you've already paused this video 3 times to dig through your pockets, check your 2007 Canadian pennies, weigh them, test them, examine them, and whatever you do, don't sell it at a garage sale like I did. If you enjoyed this video, laughed once, learned something new, or now have coin fever, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. We've got plenty more videos coming your way on how to find rare and valuable coins, how to sell them smart, and how to turn that spare change into real wealth. Turn on notifications so you don't miss out. And drop a comment below if you've ever found a weird coin you wish you hadn't given away. Hey folks, quick question, when was the last time you picked up a penny off the ground? If you're like most people, you probably walked right past it, muttering something like not even worth bending over for. Well, guess what? If that penny happened to be a 1984 Canada 1 cent coin, you may have just left $1.2 million sitting on the sidewalk. Yep. $1.2 million. Now I know what you're thinking. $1 million penny? Ray, what have you been drinking? But I'm here to tell you, my friends, this is real. This isn't some YouTube rabbit hole myth or late night TV conspiracy. This is cold, hard copper cash that's got collectors tripping over each other. So in today's video, we're diving headfirst into the story behind the 1984 Canadian 1 cent coin that's turning spare change into serious wealth. We'll talk value, we'll talk what to look for, and I'll even share a personal story that proves sometimes the smallest things in life really do pack the biggest punch. So grab that old coffee tin full of coins, kick back, and let's talk money. Real money. Let's set the stage first. The Canadian 1 cent coin, affectionately known as the penny, had a good long run before it was retired in 2012. But back in 1984, these little copper guys were still rolling off the presses in full force, and by full force, I mean 684 million of them were minted that year. So how on earth can one of those be worth over $1 million? Well, the devil's in the details. See, most of those 684 million pennies are just your average, run-of-the-mill coins. But a few, and we're talking just a handful here, have what collectors call major error features. And these errors are exactly what turn an ordinary coin into a life-changing payday. Now before your eyes glaze over, let me explain. A double die happens when a coin is struck twice by a misaligned die during minting. This results in certain features, especially the date or the Queen's portrait, appearing slightly doubled. It's like a coin with a ghost image. Creepy? Maybe. Valuable? You bet. On the 1984 Canadian penny, collectors have found doubling, most notably on Queen Elizabeth II's portrait, particularly around her lips, chin, and neckline. Imagine looking at a coin and seeing the Queen looking like she's had one too many at a royal gala. That's the one. Some also show doubling on the word DG Regina, and that adds even more collector value. And because these error coins are so rare, when one in mint condition shows up, especially one that's never been circulated, it can command prices up into the stratosphere. Let's break this down so it makes sense. A coin's value to collectors depends on a few key things. Now the 1984 Canadian 1 cent double die coin checks all those boxes. The doubling error is rare. Most people tossed these pennies in jars, or worse, gave them to kids to glue on school projects. So finding one that's in pristine shape? That's like finding Bigfoot, in a tuxedo, holding your lottery ticket. There are only a few verified top-grade double die specimens from 1984. And when one popped up in a collector auction last year, untouched, uncirculated, graded MS65 red, it went for $1.2 million. Somebody turned a penny into a house in Vancouver. Maybe two houses if you're in rural Saskatchewan. A couple years back, my buddy Dave, a retired mechanic, calls me up. He's got this massive old pretzel jar full of Canadian pennies from the 70s and 80s. Says his wife's been nagging him to get rid of it. "You like coins," he says. "Why don't you take a look before I dump them at the bank?" Well, you don't have to ask me twice. I grab a magnifier, some coffee, and go full Indiana Jones. Hours later, I'm halfway through the jar when boom, I find a 1984 penny that just looks different. There's a weird shadow on the Queen's jawline. I zoom in and yep, it's got doubling. Now, it wasn't in perfect condition. Maybe a $5,000 find on a good day. But still, that's $5,000 from a jar that was collecting dust under a workbench. Dave took that money and used it to finally take his wife on that Alaskan cruise she'd been talking about since 1997. Don't ignore the pennies, folks. They might just fund your second honeymoon. And now, before you run to the garage and start flipping jars upside down, here's what to look for. First, make sure it's a 1984 Canadian penny. Look closely at Queen Elizabeth's portrait, especially her chin, neckline, and lips. Use a magnifying glass or loupe to check for doubling. Not scratches, doubling. The lines will be raised and look like a soft shadow. Especially DG Regina. Doubling there equals jackpot potential, and of course, condition is king. If it's minty fresh, you're in business. You can always send promising finds to coin grading services like ICCS or PCGS to get an official evaluation. It costs a little upfront, but if your coin's the real deal, it could be the best investment you ever make. Or heck, even if you're pushing 70, you've probably got an old change jar lying around. And if you're anything like me, you've always dreamed of stumbling onto that one thing that changes everything. Coins like the 1984 penny aren't just about collecting. They're about opportunity. They're about finding value in places most people ignore. They're about taking 5 minutes to look a little closer and maybe discovering that you've been sitting on a fortune without even knowing it. And even if you don't strike gold, going through your coins is fun. It's relaxing. It's a trip down memory lane. And hey, it might just pay for your next vacation, or your next home project, or heck, your kids' college books. You never know if it's one of those magical 1984 Canadian cents, the kind that's quietly waiting to make you a millionaire. And if you've got old jars, drawers, boxes, or that weird coffee tin from grandma's basement, now's the time. Take a second look. You might be holding history, and a whole lot of money. Hit that subscribe button, give the video a like, and drop a comment below if you've ever found a rare coin or if you're about to go digging through your change. We've got tons more videos coming your way, all about the rarest coins, top-selling finds, and smart strategies to turn old change into big bucks. Thanks for hanging out with me. Keep looking down, because treasure isn't always buried. Sometimes it's right there in your hand. Hey coin lovers, money dreamers, and folks who haven't checked their change jar since 1998, welcome back to the channel where a penny saved might just be a millionaire made. And now let me ask you something. Have you ever looked at a coppery old penny, tossed it aside and thought, just 1 cent? Well, guess what? That dusty little coin might actually be worth more than your car, your house, and your ex's lawyer fees combined, because today, we're diving deep into the legendary, the surprising, the almost unbelievable story of the 2005 Canada 1 cent coin, a coin with a current market value of $1.3 million, yes, $million with an M. Now before you say yeah, right, just hang on. Because I've got the facts, I've got the numbers, and I've got a story you're not gonna forget. So grab your coffee, your magnifying glass, and maybe that big ol' pickle jar of coins in your garage. This is going to be a ride. Let's rewind to 2005. Back then, MySpace was still cool, flip phones ruled the world, and Canada was still producing the 1 cent coin, affectionately called the penny, before the Royal Canadian Mint stopped making them in 2012. Now, in 2005, the Mint produced millions of these little guys. Most were completely ordinary. Copper-plated steel with Queen Elizabeth II on one side and the maple leaf twig design on the other, but there's always that one that slips through the cracks, that one that ends up in a collector's glass case rather than a kid's piggy bank, and that's exactly what happened. A rare 2005 Canadian penny turned out to be unlike the others. It had a double die strike, meaning the coin was stamped twice, slightly off-center, creating a shadow like doubling on the date and the queen's face. That's what turned a 1-cent coin into a $1.30 million jackpot. Yup. A mistake made in the minting process is what made this penny pure gold, metaphorically speaking. Only a handful of these double-die 2005 pennies have ever been found. Some say less than 5. And in the collector world, that's as rare as a unicorn riding a Segway. The coin that sold for $1.3 million was in mint state. No scratches. No pocket lint. Not a single sign of wear. It looked like it came straight off the press and into a velvet glove. Since the penny was discontinued in Canada after 2012, collectors are scooping up special editions and rare errors with more hunger than a raccoon at a barbecue. That double die effect makes the coin instantly identifiable and very, very desirable to collectors. Now let's get real for a second. I once tried to convince my buddy Doug that his 1999 penny was worth something. Turned out it was just stuck to a piece of gum. Not every old coin is valuable, but some are worth life-changing money. And that's the magic here. Now here's a little story from my own life that still haunts me. A few years ago, I was clearing out my old junk drawer, you know, the one with expired coupons, paper clips, a battery that may or may not work, and about 200 random coins. I had a mix of American pennies, Canadian nickels, a Chuck E. Cheese token, and something that looked weird. I remember holding this slightly shinier penny and thinking, 2005, Canada. Never seen one this bright. But instead of checking it out or looking it up, I used it in a vending machine. For gum. Years later, after getting into coin collecting, I saw a photo of a 2005 double-die Canada penny and my jaw hit the floor. It looked exactly like the one I fed into that machine. So, somewhere out there, someone bought a Snickers bar with $1 million coin and I got gum that lost flavor in 30 seconds. Look at the numbers in the date and Queen Elizabeth's profile. If they look fuzzy, shadowed, or slightly doubled, you might have a double die. If it's banged up or scratched, the value drops. Mint state coins are where the money's at. The 2005 penny should be magnetic because of its steel core. But test it anyway. Some rare errors were accidentally struck on older bronze planchets, and if you think you've got one, don't just post a blurry picture online. Take it to a professional numismatist or a certified coin dealer. Even better, get it graded by services like PCGS or NGC. If it's legit, they'll seal it in a protective holder and confirm its value. So let's talk about the money. The Holy Grail 2005 double-die penny sold in a private auction in early 2024 for a whopping $1.3 million. A private Canadian collector who's known for snapping up rare error coins and historical oddities. He's got coins older than Canada itself. And this penny? He called it the crown jewel of his collection. Now think about that. A tiny little 1-cent coin, once ignored by most, now sits in a glass case under LED lights with an insurance policy probably bigger than your mortgage. That sometimes, a penny really is worth more than $1, that mistakes, like a double die error, can actually be worth millions, and that checking your coin jar isn't just something your grandpa did for fun. It might just change your life, whether you're in your 30s trying to get ahead, or in your 60s enjoying retirement but still love a good treasure hunt. This is the kind of hobby that rewards patience, knowledge, and curiosity. So before you cash in that change at the grocery store kiosk, do yourself a favor, look at each coin, because that next 2005 Canadian penny you find might just be your $1 million miracle. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. We drop real tips, real values, and real stories every single week, all to help you turn pocket change into serious cash. Leave a comment below if you've got a coin you're curious about or a story to share, and hey, ring that notification bell so you never miss another hidden treasure tip. Thanks for watching, folks. Until next time, keep checking your change, and may your pockets always jingle with possibility. Hey there, coin hunters, history buffs, and anyone who's ever fished a penny out of the couch cushions thinking, it's just 1 cent. That little copper coin might just be your golden ticket. Seriously. Because today, we're diving deep into the story of one humble 2007 Canadian 1-cent coin. Yeah, that's right, the little guy with the maple leaf, and how one of them is now worth $1.4 million. Let me say that again. $1.4 million. You're gonna want to stick around because by the end of this video, you might just run to your junk drawer, dump out your coin jar, and start Googling magnifying glasses on Amazon. I'm gonna walk you through what makes this coin special, how it got to be worth a small fortune, what to look for, and how a regular guy like you or me can find treasures like this hiding in plain sight. I'll sprinkle in some laughs, drop a little coin collecting wisdom, and even tell you a slightly embarrassing story about a trip to the grocery store that turned into a minor coin collecting miracle. Let's start with the basics. The 2007 Canada 1-cent coin is part of the last generation of pennies that still had some respect in the pocket change world. Minted by the Royal Canadian Mint, these coins featured the iconic 2 maple leaves on a twig, designed by George Kruger Gray, and the regal portrait of Queen Elizabeth II on the obverse, done by Susanna Blunt. The 2007 penny wasn't supposed to be anything special. It had a high mintage, made of mostly copper-plated steel. You could find them pretty much anywhere, in your change from Tim Hortons, under your car seat, or stuck between the couch cushions with a stale Cheerio. Now, not all 2007 pennies are created equal. The one we're talking about is a unique mint error, also known as a double die obverse, DDO, meaning the Queen's face was struck twice during the minting process. But not just struck twice, struck in a way that caused noticeable doubling on the date, the word Canada, and even on Her Majesty's portrait. Only one verified example of this error has ever surfaced. That's right. 1. Uno. Ein. Un. However you say one, it's as rare as a polite honk in New York traffic. Combine that rarity with a pristine condition, and I'm talking MS68 red grade from a top-tier grading service, and boom, auction house frenzy. That coin fetched a whopping $1.4 million, and yes, someone paid 7 figures for a penny. Just imagine their bank calling them after that transaction. Mr. Thompson, we noticed you just wired $1.4 million to a collectibles auction house. Was this intentional? What to look for in your pocket change now? Before you go selling your car and becoming a full-time treasure hunter, let's talk strategy. Use a magnifier and look closely at the year 2007, the word Canada, and Queen Elizabeth's features. Look for any strange doubling or ghosting. Your coin needs to be in incredible condition. We're talking red, shiny, and crisp, as if it just rolled off the press and skipped its way into your coin jar. The 2007 pennies were copper-plated steel. Test with a magnet. If it doesn't stick, you might have something even weirder like a planchet error, which could also be valuable. Condition is everything. $1 million coin isn't scratched up or bent from being jammed into a vending machine. It's a beauty queen. Now let me tell you a little story. Last winter, I was at the grocery store, tired, cold, and grumpy. My cart had one wobbly wheel that kept drifting toward the candy aisle. At checkout, I handed the cashier $20, and when she gave me my change, I shoved the coins into my coat pocket without a second glance. I got home, sat down, and pulled them out, and one penny looked weird. The Queen's face looked blurry, but not scratched. Almost like a shadow behind her. I got curious, pulled out my old magnifier from my glove box, yes, I carry one, don't judge, and started examining. It wasn't the $1 million coin, but it was a double die penny from another year. Ended up selling it online $4.650 from pocket change to pizza money for a month. Not bad for being cold and grumpy. Why are coins like this worth so much? This is the question everyone asks. Why would anyone pay over $1 million for a penny? Only one known example in that condition with that error. It's like finding a vintage car with zero rust, original tires, and still smells like 1970. Coin collectors love a good story. An error coin is like a misprint on a vintage baseball card, rare, mysterious, and exciting. Some collectors will outbid each other to be the one to own a piece of history. Ego is expensive. This isn't just about one coin. There are dozens of modern coins worth serious cash out there, just waiting to be found. Go through your change. Seriously. Take a rainy Saturday and just start looking. Buy a cheap magnifier. You can find one for under $10 online. Learn about error coins, low mintage years, and rare variations. Join a coin collecting group on Facebook or Reddit. You'll learn a ton, fast to visit coin shows or local shops. Talk to people. The community is full of folks who love helping beginners. One day, you'll find that one penny that changes everything. The story of the 2007 Canadian 1-cent coin that turned heads, broke records, and made someone a millionaire off what most people would ignore on the sidewalk. We've covered the origin, the error, the value, and even what to look for if you're hoping to strike it rich. And remember, this isn't about getting lucky, it's about paying attention, learning the signs, and putting in the time. But if you've got that coin collecting itch, now good. That's how it starts. There are hundreds more coins out there worth serious money, and I've got all the tips, stories, and insider info coming your way. So, don't just leave. Hit that subscribe button. Tap the bell icon so you don't miss a single upload. Drop a like if you've ever picked up a penny off the ground. And comment below what's the coolest coin you've ever found, and hey, check your pockets before you do laundry tonight. You never know when $1 million coin is hitching a ride in your jeans.